Well, welcome everybody to our first IGA committee meeting for 2026. I think first, I know the committee's been reconstituted a little bit. I had previously served on the IGA. I think I've been gone 2 years, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Time flies.
It does go by quick.
And so we do have at least one new representative joining us, Michelle Clapperton. So Michelle, you already know, I think we're happy to have any questions from anybody. So
Oh, I thought you were going to say we're happy to have you, but.
happy to have you.
You should say it like you did with her.
By the way, I like the new hair, and can we talk later about the diet? I need some help here.
This was in an earlier meeting, I assume. Just prior. Okay.
5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to be much more collaborative.
we've been missing Steve in action.
Yeah.
Yes, and of course we have our county administrator who's rejoined us. Like to say after vacation, but we can't say that, can we? So
Tragically, no.
right.
So,
You would have liked it to be a vacation.
I would have, but I do have new eyes.
Well,
Circling back to
One.
new eye, and I got another one coming in March.
all right, good. Good. We're off to a good start. So we, Michelle, we are happy to have you, of course. And, I think we have 3 new reps, joining us now in 2026. So, and I think, I was talking to Emin recently and he was just saying, oh, I hesitate to ask questions. And I said, no, please, the only way you're gonna learn about, what some of us have been here a little longer, than others. And so, I think the only way we learned it was by asking questions ourselves. So, don't hesitate to ask questions, especially with our department heads here as well. So, so I think we have a couple things on the agenda for today, and then a couple additions as well. I think we should just jump right into the agenda. I assume, Steve, you don't have any remarks at this point.
Welcome.
So Tammy, if you want to go ahead and
Sure.
start us off with planning.
All right. For those who are new or haven't been on IGA before, I'm Tammy Harris. I'm the director of planning and solid waste. Do a lot of different things in our department, but among them, planning, solid waste, public transportation, weights and measures. We also do the environmental concerns part of planning under the Solid Waste and Environmental Concerns Committee. So we do a lot of different things. And this is Trevor Fuller, our assistant director. All right.
Hi, yeah, thank you, Tammy. So, first order is, we have, spoken with Otsego Now, and Megan Remillard from Otsego Now is here as well for those who have not met her before. And Otsego Now and the county are we're looking to apply for another CDBG micro enterprise grant. So we looking for a resolution ultimately to authorize signature for that grant contract, if awarded.
So I move approval for the CBDG application for the grant.
Micro enterprise.
Micro enterprise grant.
Second.
Just before we make the vote, Megan, do you mind just giving a little bit of background on that grant? I mean, 'cause I know it has a focus on for business development, but some certain criteria. I mean, just broad, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, so this would be the 3rd time that the IDA has administered the micro enterprise on behalf of the county. We would be applying for 300,000. 283,000 of that would go directly to businesses and grants between $5,000 to $35,000. A micro enterprise business is a business that has 5 or fewer employees, including owners. So it's just really nice for all of the businesses in our community to get a chance to apply. The city of Oneonta does their own microenterprise. We're the only other municipality in the county that does their own. So we do try to focus on the surrounding towns, town of Oneonta, et cetera, outside of the city. So it's an exciting program, and if you have questions about it specifically, I'm happy to answer them, but
Just for clarity, it's federal money
it is.
that comes down through the state. Yeah.
Correct.
So just interesting to know that.
Yeah.
And the 17,000 is an admin fee that goes to Otsego now.
Yeah, so 10,000 of that is program delivery, which is the cost of us working directly with the businesses once they're awarded, and 7,000 is admin costs that related to the IDA over the about 2.5 years of the project of the grant.
I do have a question. We did one 2 years ago, I think, and we had done those businesses, and then there was some discussion about just doing another round and renewing
Yes.
and like filling those grantees up to the top.
Yes.
How did that work out?
The state ultimately wanted us to reapply and get new businesses in. So this is us completely going through the process all over again and reapplying for that.
And Michelle, just for your background, we used to have an outside consulting company that actually was paid to do this admin role that Otsego now has been doing the last couple of years, and so it's a much better fit for us and a much better partnership between the county and the IDA that we're able to rely on the IDA to carry out this work, and so Megan's been heading that up for the last couple of years. So, any other questions? So, do you usually do a roll call vote? Yeah, so a roll call vote,
Marietta,
yes.
Mickle.
Aye.
Kennedy,
Aye.
Mendez. Aye. Clapperton.
Aye.
So, motion passed. So we'll move to the next one.
And just FYI, because of the amount, this will next go to admin committee. And then to full board because it's 300,000, so it's over that threshold, the $20,000 threshold. Next is, I just wanted to give you some discussion on an update to our economic development loans, and I typed something up, I thought for the new folks on the committee, it's been a while, it just might be helpful to have some of that background. Basically, some number of years ago, the county had an economic development department. It was before my time. I started in 2016, so it was sometime before then. That department maintained a revolving loan program through CDBG and then some other programs as well from time to time. And once that department became no longer, sort of I guess, some of the maintenance and oversight of those loans went to the planning department. So over the years, I know our department has worked with the treasurer's office to kind of check in on the status of those loans. Many of them have been paid off, but 11 of them haven't. There's 12, but the 12th one is like, it's like $70. So realistically, 11 loans were made dating between 2004 to 2012, anywhere from $2,000 to $95,000 remaining on that balance. And so sometime in the last, since 2020, I think it was in 2024, the admin committee asked our department to work with the treasurer's office and the attorney's office to do some info gathering and try to pursue whether we could get anybody to actually repay those loans. And that was prompted by the county's external auditor just saying, these are federal funds and we really got to figure out what you're going to do with them. So when it comes to these loans, any payments at this point that would be made by the business who took out the economic development loan would be considered something called program income. And that's just a CDBG term. Previously, when we had a revolving loan fund, that would be used to disperse out more loans. Now we don't do that anymore. And the CDBG program has really limited their revolving loan programs as well. But anyway, it follows the fiscal year from April to March. And within one fiscal year, if you collect more than $35,000 of this program income, so payments on those loans, you have to give that money back to the state and the state reallocates it. If you keep it under $35,000 in that not calendar year, the April to March year, you can basically request to the state to retain those funds locally and use them however. They become unrestricted at that point. We have to provide a report every year to the state. We usually report 0 because nobody's paying on the loans. So, like I said, we were tasked with tracking down kind of the loan files and finding out who those businesses are. The attorney's office drafted a letter for us. And for all of the businesses that we could find loan agreements for, we sent a letter out to all of them. So there's, I believe, there's 3 businesses we cannot locate an agreement for, but otherwise, all the other remaining have been mailed something. Many of the letters were returned. These folks don't exist in these places anymore. These businesses may not even really functionally exist anymore. So hard to pin down and track down these individuals. We have been contacted by one of the businesses regarding the letter we sent. And so in talking with Chair Frazier last year, kind of towards the end of last year about this, he suggested I bring kind of a background on it to you in January to just prep you on this is the status, this is what we've been doing. We've been trying to track these folks down, have had limited success, but we have heard from one. And the idea would be to invite them to the committee next month. They have indicated that they would like to have a discussion with the county on. I don't know how much I'm allowed to say in open session, but yeah, they would like to have a discussion about their situation. And it would probably, I assume, would be an executive session, but so this is just to prep you to say we'll be inviting them next month to talk about it. Anybody have any questions? I actually
Same old story.
And just, for the record, I did talk to the state and I asked them what they felt. These are loans from a long time ago at this point. And, I don't think it's not the county's money. It was federal funds that we dispersed through the county. But they're really, they're not tracking us down for those funds, I'll put it that way. So. Anybody have any questions on that? More to come. Hey, you're next.
All right, so the next item has to do with brownfields and our efforts to continue working on that in the county. With Southern Tier 8, they are interested in applying for a brownfields coalition grant. You should have the materials, I believe, right? Up to 1.5 million could be the request. What they're looking to do is, from us, is a letter of commitment to participate in their project should they be awarded. So they want to create this regional brownfields accelerator, essentially, where they work with a few counties to begin with that they've spoken with. And it would basically help fill some capacity that some of the counties might not have in terms of inventorying all the different brownfields or underutilized, potentially environmentally harmful sites that nobody has decided to redevelop. It would fill in some gaps with that. That's the vision. Help inventory. If you already maybe have a good inventory of brownfields, this Southern Tier 8 program would look to help you actually pursue assessment grant funding if needed. And so kind of finding out where everyone is in their process and trying to fill some of those gaps to get you further to actual site remediation, assessment, cleanup, and ultimately reuse, redevelopment. And so we are just being asked to provide a letter saying, yeah, we will participate in this effort, if you're selected.
What is our status or situation vis-a-vis brownfields? Do we have an inventory or?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's not complete. We have an inventory in terms of, what we're trying to build. Some of well, honestly, a majority of the sites, I think, are sites that we can't find through normal kind of regulatory databases and simple searches, even using our GIS. We can get close. We can get a lot of properties that, are abandoned or vacant, and look at their previous use and say, yeah, that probably would be something envisioned as a brownfield. But I think there are several sites that we don't know about that local officials know about. And they may not know that it could technically be a brownfield. So our effort has really been to kind of make them aware of that and reach out and say, hey, we'll meet with you. Let's chat about any sites you might have and build the inventory from there. We also have an intern coming in this summer. That is, oh yeah, this spring, I'm sorry.
In a couple weeks.
Yeah, she starts on the 28th. And we envision part of her work being reaching out to municipal officials to really try to continue pressing to get some more information. Do you know of any sites that have just been sitting there forever, regardless of what they know or, in its previous use?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be this, big industrial factory that lays abandoned. It could be something pretty innocuous looking, but it's not being redeveloped for some reason. Sometimes that's the perception of an environmental liability there. So
I move approval that we write the letter to commit to participate in the Southern Tier 8 Regional Board Brownfield Coalition.
Second.
And my question is, Trevor, I know that MVED has a brownfields program and we, interestingly enough, knew people. For economic development, our county is part of two different agencies for economic development. One is the Mohawk Valley, MVED, Mohawk Valley, whatever, Economic Development District. And then the other one is the Southern Tier 8, which is based more down towards, obviously, the Southern Tier. So we have both, we do both. And the MVED piece of it has worked on brownfields before, and I know that we have a little bit of history there. So could you just tell us a little about that?
yeah, sure. I mean, there are some sites that I think either a municipality has been in touch with MVED or has worked with them in the past that I think we're continuing to explore if MVED might have funding.
Be able to use an MVED identified site to go into the Southern Tier.
The only
don't
stipulation
know.
with this program is that we can't have already used EPA funds on any of the sites, which we haven't done anything with any site, so.
Okay.
Kind of, it's a clean slate.
Yeah. So if MVED uses some funding for assessment, maybe the money could come down the road for cleanup if something were necessary at that particular site.
So when you say brownfield.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So yeah, brownfield is basically any site that is undeveloped or hasn't been redeveloped, I should say, because there is either an actual environmental issue or perceived environmental issue. So somebody might look at that, an old building and say, oh, I heard there was a tannery or something in there. I'm going to stay away because I don't know, chemically what could still be on site. So I don't have the money to look into that, and I don't want the liability if I do buy it. So government bodies have created a series of grants and loan systems where you can get financial assistance to conduct an assessment without even owning it in some cases, and finding out what is really the environmental condition of that site. If there isn't anything, then you just found that out, and it very much changes the dynamics of that. that interest, and so you can go forward. If you do find something, then there's additional money that you can get from the state and federal governments to help actually figure out what is there and remove it even, to where you end up with this kind of, I don't want to say clean slate, but you end up with something that is usable for a defined purpose. Yeah. So yeah, you're welcome. And they're just, all over the country, a lot of programs in some of the big cities. Some of the rural areas, it's a little bit tougher because they sit, nobody really knows about them. Nobody maybe knows that there are programs to work with. So we're just trying to get that word out while building an inventory of these sites.
Yeah. So, any more
Yeah.
questions at this point?
No.
So I think we'll go ahead and do the roll call vote.
Marietta,
Yes.
Mickle. Aye. Kennedy,
Aye.
Mendez. Aye. Clapperton.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're all set with that.
Thank you.
The next is an approval, request also working with Southern Tier 8 Regional Board. They would like to put in an application to the local government efficiency grant program. The regional, boards are now eligible for those programs to hire a regional grant administrator that would be available. The focus would be sort of to our towns and villages and city, but as a place to go when they have a good project, but they just don't have the capacity or the capabilities to manage a grant for it. And part of that application would involve them hiring somebody to help them design a program to be able to, otherwise they're going to be completely inundated, but to design a program to evaluate which projects they take on and that would have, they're probably going to want something that has a regional benefit, but yeah, so they asked if all of the partnering counties would kind of issue a letter of commitment for that program.
Motion for that?
I move that we participate. We could discuss.
Yeah, second.
Second.
So how would this be paid for? And
Through the local government efficiency grant from the state.
they would pay the grant writer?
Yeah, so the idea, usually with local government efficiency grants is they'll do enough work to get you started. So part of that process of hiring somebody to help them develop that program would be to devise how are they going to sustain this position beyond. Probably it will result in the fact that a lot of grant programs have administrative funds that would help support, if I had to guess, but
Right.
that will be part of this is designing that program.
So, okay, so it's to do, the step one is to design the program.
Yeah.
Then after that gets designed, step two is to start actually looking at projects.
Yes, yep,
I know there would be interest from the towns, I do know that.
yes.
They talk about it frequently at town meetings.
And we've had a lot of towns come to us even saying like, we really are missing, there's a capacity missing to just kind of an at your service level of grant administration that we try to support what we can, but there's, I think, more need than we're able to support. So I said I would bring it, I call it getting capacity filled would be good.
Any other questions? So would go ahead and do a vote?
Marietta,
Yes.
Mickle. Aye. Kennedy,
Aye.
Mendez.
Yes.
Clapperton.
Yes.
Great, all set. And then we just have one other point here.
Yes, next is to amend, resolution 358, 2025, 1105. That's for our cost share agreement with the city of Oneonta. It's just, there's a small change in that we just missed on, the resolution. It was from an old resolution where the city used to cover the 10% local match on capital purchases. However, since the last time we had created that contract, sorry, let me back up. We have a cost share agreement with the city of Oneonta to pay for the Oneonta Cooperstown route. It's 55, 45, 55 the county. That's based on ridership origin. So most rides are coming from the county into the city. So that's how we calculated that.
Okay,
But,
perfect.
so since then, there's been a New York State Accelerated Transit Capital Fund program that covers that 10% local match for federal capital purchases that we, they used to have to come up with. And so they, caught this when we were developing our contract document. And they're right, we have been since using the ATC funds to cover that match. So I just want to get that resolution amended. So it's not in the contract document saying they're gonna pay the 10%. It's contradictory in the contract to the resolution, so.
So just on the document that you included,
Yep.
you struck out that the
Yep.
city of Oneonta struck, and so.
It'll say a portion of Otsego County's allocation for the New York State Transit, Accelerated Transit Capital Funds.
That's what'll,
And that's what we've done in the last purchase.
got it.
So
So-
we get funds allocated to us.
Yep.
Basically, just the state gives us a full of funds for capital purchases for transit and
So is there a motion to make this?
I'll make a motion to make that change.
Second?
Any other questions? Roll call.
Marietta,
Yes.
Mickle.
Aye.
Kennedy,
Aye.
Mendez.
Aye.
Clapperton.
Yes. That go to admin,
yes,
so. That revision will go to admin and then to the full board.
yes.
Got it.
Not on the agenda. I just want to let you know that, Nicole has a draft of the trolley RFP. I reviewed it, the village reviewed it. She's gonna make there's a few changes that she needs to make, and then it'll go to the state for their approval. Once the state is good with the RFP documentation, we can get that order on and document. So,
That's progress.
yes. Great.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks, Sherman.
Thank you.
Yep. Anyone? Alan, you ready? Yep. You got it. Thanks.
Okay, we would like to request approval to pay 2026 appropriations to the community partners, which is $4,000 for the Cooperstown Chamber kiosk. We can skip destination marketing since we've taken care of them already. What's Upstate New York, $500, the IDA, $225,000, the Fort County Library System is $5,300, and Otsego County Chamber of Commerce, $5,900.
I'll make a motion to make those payments.
Second?
Any questions about that motion?
Otsego Town Fair. Does that come through on a different channel?
Yeah, that's actually under admin.
Oh,
So
okay,
I
they
will
come
be
directly.
bringing that, and I
Okay.
think there's a couple of other that are under
Alright.
admin as well.
Okay.
Yep.
Ready to do a roll call vote. I'll just say I'm a volunteer board member on two of these, the Cooperstown Chamber and IDA. But I still plan to vote because I obviously do not benefit financially from any of these allocations. But any other comments? So we'll do our roll call.
Marietta,
Yes.
Mickle.
Aye.
Kennedy,
Aye.
Mendez.
Aye.
Clapperton.
Aye. We're all set with that.
Okay, and then we did have the county historian on our agenda if you want to discuss it now.
I was emailing with Alan about this. I didn't realize that we had a resignation. So I missed that obviously with
I
Deb.
think it's a very recent.
It was a
Very
recent
recent.
email that Deb shared. Yeah,
Yeah.
so or resigned by email, but so Alan, that volunteer that emailed you, that has not been shared with the board.
It has not, just you
Okay.
and Steve.
Okay. So I guess that's the question to the committee. We have a vacancy with Deb McKenzie's resignation. I think one thing is obviously thinking like Deb, I mean, without her persistence and true leadership and actually kind of badgering us to get that position up and running again, even though it is at a volunteer capacity, she made that happen. You know, so I think that you know, I think she's done some great service to the county, but now we have her resignation, and so the question of the committee is, we have somebody who's stepped forward to volunteer in that position. That hasn't obviously gone to all of us, but this person has experience with another local county history museum and serves as a local historian for a local town. Do we want to do a public call for a volunteer position? That's kind of my question.
So I did want to talk a little bit about that because when we did create the position initially, I did get a number of calls about why didn't we know about this, or why didn't we have a chance to say that we wanted to do it, or,
Okay.
you know, those kinds of calls.
So
So,
there is an interest out there.
yeah,
That's
which is good to know that
Yeah.
there's an interest. So I feel that even though it is a volunteer position, there might be some benefit to broaden, you know,
Publicly.
spreading out
Yeah.
a request.
Is that I hesitate to make this complicated, but
You know,
is this
I
a
know.
personnel question or?
Let me have a conversation with Penny about make sure we do. There are civil service rules about volunteers.
Yeah.
I don't know what they are, so let me have that conversation with her. And if we can't do personnel, then I think we put out a little kind of mini RFP, not an Onondaga RFP, but just saying we're looking for volunteer positions for this position. I also frankly want to talk with my counterpart in the city of Oneonta, which has a lot of volunteer boards. And I just want to see how they do that. So let me have those conversations and come back next month to IGA and see how we want to proceed. I do want to mention this. We have an America 250 commission, which I've been a little neglectful. I'm going to try to pull together another meeting, and I would like to ask all of them, hey, you have ideas about who might be in this role, reach out to us. So assuming that's okay.
Permission to digress into the Otsego 250. I really would love for us to get some merch for Otsego 250, you know, that people could buy maybe through the county website or through something. Saratoga County has a really robust program that my brother sent me the link to. They were celebrating the 250th anniversary of Henry Knox moving the equipment from Ticonderoga over the Hudson River. And I was like, well, we need to compete somehow with that for Otsego County. So, would the Otsego 250 Commission be a good starting point for that?
I think so. We have been awarded $15,000 from the state for M250 stuff. They've not sent us the grant paperwork, the contract and stuff, which would come into my office. So that is availability. I think a lot of the American 250 commission members, they want to get their hands on that money and run their own RFP process, that sort of stuff. I think we absolutely want them involved, but I think this has got to be these are state funds, all the usual state rules apply. At least for that 15,000, we need to run that.
Well, didn't we put some money in the budget for Otsego County specifically for us to do our own, like, directed, or, local directed celebrating, so we could maybe look at those ones?
Did that survive?
I don't think.
I don't think it did.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure it was on the chopping block.
Okay.
So, but I mean, I think that maybe the community events grant is one, I mean, that is an opportunity to get some small amount of money for that effort. So, I mean, the other thing you could do is take, I think I was asking Ellen, it's the total for that community event grant funding is $60,000. I mean, maybe the committee recommends allocating 5,000 of that specifically for, even though we cut it out of our budget, we could reduce the community events by 5,000 and allocate that. I'm just throwing that out as a
Yeah,
number.
yeah, it's a way to get some kind of, backing for the ideas.
Or even just in the criteria for community events grants, just put it out there. You'll get extra points, so to speak, if your event can be connected with somebody. You'll probably get some ridiculous things, but you.
I'm having a reenactment in my backspace field, so.
There you go.
All right. Okay, I just wanted to make sure we talked about it.
So we are gonna hold on any action on the historian position, but ideally, we're gonna be putting out some kind of, yes. Re, position advertising.
Yes.
Should we just talk about the community events grant since Alan is under county administrator? Just cover that right now.
Or if you guys want to do this fine.
Yeah.
Well, we
Or
could do
do
board
we-
elections and then.
Yeah, that's right. We have some time constraints for others, so yeah, let's come back to that. Cause I know, yeah, we do have Board of Elections here, and we have Phil as well as some veterans, so. So let's move to Board of Elections. And I think, is this is an executive session.
Actually, it may not,
We busy?
it may not need to.
Okay. So can we avoid that?
Um. So we're here to, they started a resolution request to enter into a contract with NPS Data Services. For VDVA services, which is a data backup, a daily offsite data backup. And that's gonna be a one-time set of costs of $6,000. Charge of $9,809 for 2026 and $10,593.72 for 2027. Now, that was be a 2-year contract for January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2027. There's anything else we need to add up?
How we're funding it. This year, we're funding it with a 2025 vote by mail grant, and then in 2027, we'll figure that out.
See, but wait, you talked about this a couple times now, right? I mean, it hasn't, did I haven't already even approved this? I feel like.
I don't know if we ever came out and did a resolution.
Okay, we never did the resolution, got it.
We definitely have talked about it.
Yeah,
On
number.
multiple occasions.
What, I'm sorry, Jennifer, wasn't?
I was just making a motion so we can.
Oh, great.
discuss it.
Yeah.
I'll
Motion,
second.
Second, all right. So we've discussed it. Any questions or more discussion?
So I think your concern was for next year, 2027, how you'd be paying for that, is that correct? And it's 10,000 next year.
It is 10,000.
500.
I recommend the resolution be for 1 year. I guess this year, with a potential option to be funded in 27. That will make it make the grant funding that we may get available in 27, if it is available. So there's a little squirrely thing which says this grant that these guys are seeking has to be for stuff that has not already been budgeted. You know, it's meant to be add-on, right? And so that works just fine in our 26 budget. But we don't want to do anything that suggests that this will be funded in 27 at this time. That's why I recommend doing that.
Isn't it required that we do this?
I feel like we need to do
Yeah.
the daily backups. I wouldn't want there to be any question that we weren't gonna go through with year 2 and forever going forward.
And
Well,
the issue there is that we did speak to the vendor, they already cut down what was normally a minimum 3-year contract to 2 years for us. They are not willing to go to 1 year.
So the risk then, what that means is in 27, you won't be likely getting grant funding for this. It'll
Not
be-
necessarily from that grant.
Right, there may be others, but this is what we talked about this morning, right? So it's a little risk we just need to be cognizant of.
I'm assuming that, I mean, my understanding from all of our previous discussions, it was a 2-year contract. And it continues to be a 2-year contract. The bigger question is, I mean, I assume it's gonna go to the county attorney's office and the contract probably has an out. And if for some reason you had to cancel that contract after 1 year,
And we would know well before budgeting the season.
right, so
What's coming.
there would be options for us.
And going forward, this contract would be matching in sync with our voter registration system, which would be generally a 5-year contract. So when this expires in 2 years, that's why it's 2 now, is that one is up in 2 and then it'll be extended for, if you contract with them, another 5. So run tandem. They'll be
So-
separate contracts but together.
Yeah. So in a way, the concern I'm raising is moot at this point, because I didn't realize that NTS would not do the 1 year plus an option. They have to have a 2-year.
So when we talked about, we spoke to you about you, that's an investment bill, well, we've already reduced it 1 to line up with your other contract.
So we just have this potential risk. I mean, what are we talking about? You know, another $10,000? You know, hopefully that's not gonna be a problem in plain stuff.
And I think this is an important enough thing that we should be doing, especially as we get closer.
Yeah, oh yeah. Obviously very essential and may actually be required by New York State elections. I don't know if the daily backups is.
It is required weekly.
Right,
And we've been meeting that by doing kind of a physical workaround where we're physically coming and transporting data on a weekly basis. Which is fine in January. It's less fine, you know, in May, June, October, November,
right,
when we really need it.
right.
So just for the sake of discussion, a breach to the data would mean that if we didn't have the daily backups, you would have to put a week's worth of transactions in, and depending on the week, I'm guessing the cost of that would be significant. Would it be $10,000? I don't know, but it would be a lot. And it would.
I mean,
probably
there's
be
the
very
dollar
big.
cost, possible, you know, and overtime cost. And then the public cost, and just in terms of perception.
Be very bad. So I think that we should go ahead with the 2-year contract and figure out a way to pay for it in 27. If there isn't grant funding, then we would pay it with a local share, but I feel confident that you'll be able to find some kind of grant. There's plenty, you know, there's a lot of discussion on anything cyber and digital related. I think they're not be too confident of what you could find, but I have a lot of confidence in you.
All right, any more questions? Roll call vote?
Marietta,
Yes.
Mickle. Aye. Kennedy,
I,
Mendez.
Yes.
Clapperton.
Yes.
Right, who's that?
No, we have one more. So because of the timing of this, we didn't get the grant until September. There's no IGA in September. So we got it in October. So by the time we got this, went through this process, although we did transfer the money in 2025, we haven't spent it yet. So we need to do another budget mod for this in 2026 because that money was left back in 2025. Due to the timing. So we're requesting a budget modification from A10-1050-0000-4308991. And moving it to A1450-545000, which is contracts for the 1477966, which is the mail grant program.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call vote?
Marietta,
Yes.
Mickle. Aye. Kennedy,
I,
Mendez.
Yes.
Clapperton.
Yes.
All right. Very much. So, Sean, not voting.
I've been.
Do you mind just introducing yourselves briefly, because we have Michelle as the new representative.
Mike Reese, that.
Thank
you.
You guys. This is for them.
Bill, you wanna?
Yeah.
Come on up. Bill, do you mind introducing yourself as well?
I'm Phil from Veterans. How are you? So I don't have a whole lot on the agenda today. Just a couple things to overview of 2025. Last year we had a really productive year in our outreach programs. We filed the highest claims with the VA last year in the past 5 years. And that's, I believe, in due to our outreach. The more outreach we do, the more veterans come in the door. We were successful in the budget modification from the Dwyer grants from mental health to us last year. My question to you is, do I have to do another budget mod in order to bring it from 2025 to 2026 budget? Because it's not in the 2026 budget in Munos.
You have, you don't have purchase orders out for that?
No.
Well, it wouldn't be a budget.
Okay.
So let's talk about it.
Okay. Sure. That was just one of my questions. Okay.
Some types of money will fall into fund balance.
Okay.
Some, will not and can be used in the subsequent year, and I mostly think of that as purchase orders.
Right.
But I think there are other ways.
Okay.
So let's.
Perfect. This year we're gonna be doing our event in November. We have not confirmed with Foothills yet whether we're gonna do it down there or not. The Dwyer grant is going to produce a lot of outreach and a lot of veteran peer-to-peer interaction this year. We've been meeting with other counties. We've been meeting with the Dwyer grant board in New York State. They have a Zoom that we have once a month, and we kind of go over ideas of what we can do countywide and what other counties are doing, what works for them, what's not working for them. And hopefully with the amount coming to transfer over to 2026 budget, I'm hoping in February to start all of our programs. Other counties are doing peer-to-peer interaction groups. They're doing coffee hours, breakfast, lunch, dinners, bowling, fishing, boat rides, golf, hiking, fitness, camping, amusement parks, picnics. It goes on and on and on. The only thing is you just got to make sure that you stick with your budget and make sure that you have events planned every single month throughout the year. Make sure you have enough money to last you through the year. The budgeting process is a necessity. At this time, we talked about it in December and November. At this time, we're gonna try to handle it in a department instead of hiring a part-time. If that gets overwhelming, then we're gonna contact Penny and kind of follow other counties' procedures on the hiring of part-time for it. But as of right now, we're the other than that, I'll write you an email to follow up on that. Okay, be good to go.
So can you just, for Michelle's information, how many staff, you're
Yep.
the only full-time in your department, right?
No, we have myself and Jamie Karkis. We're both considered VSOs. I'm the director, and we help veterans in any way we can. We do a lot of work with DSS programs. We file claims through the VA, so they get monthly compensation for any disability ratings they may have, and any injuries that was sustained in service. We do housing, food. You name it, we do it. So, and if we don't do it, we have personal organizations that help us. So we can, we can directly relate to them. We work with a VA, up in Albany every single day for housing and for everything. So anything a veteran needs, reach out. So, I mean, I'm gonna butcher his name. Hickley?
Evan.
Yeah. Yeah, he
Evan
wrote.
Hitchens.
Yep, he wrote me an email yesterday and we followed up on that within like an hour. So if you guys need anything or any veterans that need, just reach out.
And where are you located?
At the Meadows Building.
Okay, you're, okay.
Yep. Yeah, feel free to stop down anytime you want.
I think right across the hall from planning.
It is. Yeah. So sometimes I'm in and out of the office, like as in yesterday and outreach and stuff. And then Jamie, we kind of rotate back and forth. So sometimes she goes out and outreach and then sometimes I do. So.
Yeah, there's a veterans service type center in Oneonta. So.
Yep, correct. So that's Utica Center for Development. Yep, that's a nonprofit organization out of Utica. And they're doing good work down there as well. They have a food pantry and stuff down there as well. So, yep. So,
Thank you.
yeah, no problem. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, one thing I forgot, and I think this is a Stephen Allen thing for follow-up. I just looking ahead to Technology and Strategic Planning Committee this month. We hoping we can try to get or send out a reminder about the quarterly updates. I don't know where we ended up with for 2025.
Right.
But I think this is our first round of committee meetings for this year, and Human Services already met, but we could still catch PSLA, Public Works, SWAC.
What, I'm sorry, what do you?
Just to remind department heads, I'm not sure, given how last year kind of wrapped up, and we'll be reminding them to do their quarterly updates. And
What about this? Since the first quarter is usually pretty light.
Yeah.
It's mostly we got this contract in place to do this work. Why don't we, at the end of the first quarter, ask them to recap 25?
Yep.
Kind of their major accomplishments, and that kind of stuff, things they did. And anything that happened in 24. Or we could just ask them.
I think 25 is our main focus at this point, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. I mean, my only concern is we need to give them some time, so I would have them updated February.
Yeah, any time, the timepiece is not an issue. I mean, if we want to give them to the end of first quarter, that's fine. I think for TSP, we can still hold that meeting, just to take a look at, because we have new committee members.
Yes.
From that perspective, but I think I just want to make sure that it would be great for us to get some reminders out, this first round of committee meetings, or just an email to department heads and just ask them to, any input or feedback they have on 2025 would be great to capture in clear plan.
Okay.
And then, I think maybe at the February board meeting, maybe at, so end of first quarter, maybe I hesitate to like wait till April for us to do it, just to have a board
Let's do
meeting
it
and
in
look at.
February. I just would send an email out to department
Yeah.
heads saying, at your February
Meeting, yeah.
meetings, update you is, on your 25.
Yeah, that would be great. So that gives them.
For Q4 of 25 or.
I think it might actually be a little bit
25,
longer.
like
Yeah,
major highlights of
I,
25.
if they want to do major highlights, but I think we definitely are kind of like looking to wrap up the end of 2025. So I think we were on, we were getting good engagement with quarter one, quarter two. I think quarter three started to get into the budget process, and then quarter four, obviously, yeah, it didn't happen. So, I think we're assuming, I think we had good feedback for the first two quarters, whatever we could get for quarter three and quarter four, whatever we can get for that last.
Okay.
And
part of
then
the year.
Q1 of 26 would be for April.
Yes, yeah, I think we're given lots of time on that one. Yeah, I think we're talking April. But it would be good, my only other thought is that with 3 new representatives, it would be nice, and they're not on the, obviously I'm not attending TSP, but it'd be nice for us at some point in the spring, February board meeting or March board meeting to just pull up clear plan and just do a quick, reminder and recap.
Okay.
So, all right, so that, just wanted to touch on that. So we'll move to the community events grants, if that is okay with everybody.
Yeah, I just think that after 10 years, we finally got it.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like that there's any reason to change the criteria and the maximum grant amounts. The only thing I just want to go back to is the 250 anniversary. Maybe rather than taking 60,000 out, maybe, or taking money away from the 60,000, I like the idea that, of adding something on here about, 250 anniversary events will get maybe more,
Special consideration,
yeah,
maybe?
that we would,
This would be hard though.
yeah, I know. I know that for years we've just kind of been allocating it, just, it's hard to measure one event against another.
Yeah.
And it takes away the importance of the other events that
Yep.
you get. They still need the money.
Yeah. Maybe we can just go tap the DNC for the other idea. Keep this fully funded for event. Draw towards.
Definitely have lots of demand.
There's so many applications for it and
Yeah.
it seems like the number is getting smaller every year.
Yeah.
As far as what they're getting.
Yeah,
So this is a-
193.
Nora, you know this program, but Michelle, this is a grant program where we take. It's gone up every year, but we're up at $60,000 that is funded from occupancy tax and is different organizations apply to get a grant from the county. And we've kind of tweaked it over the years and the maximum award is $2,000 and the events are meant to either build community, which is one of the things that kind of spread a little bit to include and also to draw tourists into the county. So there are 2 different kind of tracks that we work on. But the main thing is to get to have an event and to draw people in. So we usually get like about 100 applicants and give out
There were
the awards.
65 last year,
Yeah.
so Alan forwarded me the spreadsheet that has the accounting for the reports that we've received so far, because that's the other thing.
Oh, yeah.
They don't submit the report. So I just had a couple quick questions, and Alan, I don't know, you're probably the best one to answer this, but the W-9 and acceptance column in the spreadsheet. Does an organization, if they don't accept and provide the W-9, do we still send them the money?
We do not. So anybody that's blank there did not end up submitting that and did not get the funds.
So like Butternut Valley Alliance submitted their report, but you have them blank for W-9 and acceptance.
Correct. I don't think they ever got their money. I think they ended up not
Just-
realizing they hadn't got their money, submitted.
And still
the
submitted the
report because
reports.
they did the event and never
Got
got
it.
the funding.
Got it. So
Overachieved.
my second question is that there's 3, 4, 5, 6, and I think 6 blanks for W-9 acceptance. So that money wasn't granted out, which probably is a ballpark 6,000 at least, because most of those look like $1,193 grants. What is that money? That's just
Still sitting in the budget.
still sitting in a budget. Okay.
Yeah.
In addition to the 60,000 or 65,000 or?
No, so it's still just sitting as residual funds in the 2025 budget. So
Right.
and every year, whatever the total grant amount is, there's always a handful of people that don't get it, and that just falls into fund balance at the end of the year.
Yeah. Is it, I mean, is that truly swept or is that, I mean, could we take that money and allocate it? I'm just asking.
You could. I would be really careful because we don't know. And we won't know how much we spent this year. Okay?
Oh,
Whether or
bigger
not-
picture budget.
Yeah, bigger picture.
Yeah.
And so we want
Sure, it's not
to,
really
I mean, I've been approving budget overrides right and left in the past,
Yeah,
few weeks and
no,
hopefully we're not gonna use all the appropriated fund balance, but I think we're gonna use more than we did last year.
right.
So as well.
I'm sure it doesn't exist. I'm just asking. So,
I like that thought.
all right.
Alan, do you have notes from last year? Cause I know like if there's issues along the way of the applications and stuff, we kind of take notes of what could be changed for the following year.
I do, although I think I didn't print them. If you want to give me a moment, I can go.
That's okay.
Yeah.
The old
You know,
favorite.
been addressed, the solid
We
issue.
have addressed almost everything that we could address. I think there were a couple of suggestions that were kind of not using SurveyMonkey, going with some type of Microsoft product. We haven't made any of those larger changes that would take more work, but all of the easier stuff as far as following up with the application process, and there were some concerns about people not getting confirmation emails, that type of thing. We did what we could, although within the limitations of the system that we have.
Yeah, that was always one of the big ones that people felt like they were entering it into the ether and then not knowing if it was
Right.
successfully taken. That was one of the biggest
Yeah, and I think they
concerns
only
that
get
I heard.
right, and I think the page just goes to a confirmation online, and I don't think they end up getting an email, and I don't believe there's any way to make that happen. So there may still be some people that go through the process and could be unsure. They're definitely welcome to reach out. I have a lot of people that do. Yep.
Just to confirm. The only other question I had is that the grant recipients that have not submitted their final report, at what point do we say that is there a deadline traditionally that they submit the report, they submit their next application, but they haven't filed their past application?
I think historically, it's always been allowed right up until the point of time where we switch to the application process. And I think with
Got it.
SurveyMonkey, we can't have both going at the same time. So that makes a natural
Okay,
cutoff. They can do the post event until we flip to doing the applications, and then the post events are done in file.
Okay.
If that works for everybody.
I did have some mail, like email to me like the day of the meeting prior. These are
final reports.
final reports.
Yeah.
They're like, we never did this.
Which
But
seems,
something like, the Fishtown River Carnival or something that may take place.
right.
Sure.
That is a good point. And two things about the post event. I did send 2 follow-up reminders, so one in September and one early in December. So everybody has been reminded twice this year. Talking about the late winter events, previous to last year, I believe, they were allowed to submit their report in the following year, just because of how it fell so late in the current year. Michelle had changed that so that if they didn't have to report in,
It's okay.
they did not get funding, and there were actually a couple that had late winter events that didn't get funding last year because of that. So that would be up to all of you whether you want to go back to allowing those handful of organizations to submit in the following year for a late winter event.
I think it makes sense to allow it.
I do
think
too.
that's what it
Um,
is.
I always was never clear about whether they were taking the money and using it for the next year or taking the money and using it to backfill something for the same year. So I do think that some leeway would be a good thing around those handful of winter.
Yeah, there's not many.
The wrestling tournament, the carnival. Yeah.
So that if we're gonna turn on this application soon, that the only, I guess, hesitation was that the application for the final reports, they could no longer use that. So do we, I think Alan's last year it was started January 17th. Is that right? I'm looking for the email you sent me with the time frame from last year.
I think that was correct.
So I mean, that would really be
How many
Next
are we
week.
talking about? This,
that are left. I think there's like 10. I was just counting it. That are on the spreadsheet. There's,
Has their events taken place?
yeah, I think all the events have taken place. I think they're just, and some of them are well-known organizations. So I mean, I think that, maybe just a subtle reminder to them this week. There's a couple of them that are in my district that what I'm saying is I can reach out to them, but I'll forward everyone the spreadsheet. And so I think if you see any in your district, I think then that would be good for us to try to reach out to them.
I think so too.
But I think ideally we would put out the announcement in the application next week. That's what I was hoping, if folks are okay with that.
Yeah, as long as, and we can just be, take a softer view towards those that, post-event report.
If they're not able to do the online report,
Maybe
they
they
could
could
still do
submit
it.
it by paper
Yeah.
and, or email.
So I guess, do people want, just to give Alan time and IT, I'm sure it's not that
It
long,
It
but
shouldn't be difficult. Yeah, I was thinking maybe Wednesday of next week, just
Wednesday, the
Monday's
21st.
a holiday.
Yeah.
Tuesday, there's sometimes build up from over the weekend, so.
Or should we just push it to Friday, the 23rd, just to kind of do it at the end of the week?
Yeah, for my purposes, either would probably be fine, so whatever you'd like to do.
how long do we give them? A
What's the
month?
Wednesday,
Wednesday?
Friday stuff.
I think Alan in his email here for timing, he said that the application went live January 17th last year, and then applications were due February 21st. So that was, that was definitely, so if you made the applications live on the 21st of January, you could close them out. February 20th is a Friday, or February 27th, or February 23rd is a Monday. But that would be close to a month. I mean, that would be a month. If you did Friday the 20th or Monday the 23rd.
Yeah, probably anywhere in that time frame is fine. Once we close it, it takes me a little while to get everything consolidated, and sometimes stuff comes in kind of sloppy or
Right.
piecemeal, and then so enough time for me to get it consolidated, and then enough time for you all to review it before the next IGA meeting.
That was it, 20th one.
Well, if we went to put them posted it out on the January 20th and pulled it back, closed it off on February 20th. which is it?
January 21st, right? Is that Wednesday?
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
the
then
21st
you're
through
saying
the 20th of
Friday
February.
the 20th.
Yeah,
Friday, February 20th. Okay. Does that sound okay to everybody?
Mhm.
So no changes that people are okay with the, maximum grant amounts and the criteria and everything else. Um. And I think, yeah, so I think Alan wants you can update the two documents.
Yep.
And, the online application. I think we would send that to the whole committee. And then, I think,
Send it to the whole board.
I think just have our committee just kind of informally sign off on it real quick and then Alan can, at whatever point it goes live, we'll send it to the full board and it'll get posted to the county all at the same time. I think just for us, just to feel, not that we need to meet again or anything like that or vote, but just that we all kind of
See
feel,
it,
yes, feel comfortable. So, Alan, so I assume at some point, whenever you can get that stuff updated and send that to us and all for the spreadsheet that Alan sent me with, the accounting for the organizations that received funding and then who's submitted their final reports.
that will be helpful. That way we can reach out if there's somebody on there who we
Mhm.
know is delinquent.
I think that's it then. So any other comments or questions? Great. Did you motion for adjournment?
Sure.
Yeah,
I
one second.
was just commenting on something that went.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
Meg is jumping ahead.
Oh. I moved. Okay, I second.
So we're all set then.
Okay.
All right.
Recording stopped.